Good morning, community, and welcome to Take Action Rockingham. I'm Mike Smith, and this is Marty Gallagher, and this is our first episode of our new show.
The goal of our show is to keep the information flowing both between the committees for the Take Action Rockingham, between the Youth Committee, the Building and Redevelopment Committee, and the Energy Committee, and also keep the information flowing out to you, the public.
And in that vein, this month's meeting the Building Committee is meeting Monday, March 9th at the Bellows Falls Library at 6:30 p.m. The Youth Center Committee is meeting Thursday, March 19th, and the place of the meeting is yet to be announced, but they're putting out a Facebook post, so keep your eyes peeled on Facebook, and that's good advice anyway. The Energy Efficiency and Resiliency Committee is meeting on Thursday, March 19th, in the Graz building, right down here in the same floor as Fact TV, at 6:30 in the evening. In addition, the Energy Efficiency Committee has put together a couple subcommittee meetings. There's a Transportation Committee meeting on Wednesday, March 11th, 5 p.m. at the current office on Route 103. The Gardening and Compost Committee is meeting Wednesday, March 11th, 6:30 at Parks Place. And the Weatherization Committee is meeting Wednesday, March 11th at 6:30 at Don Kerslow's house behind the library.
Wow, the Energy and Efficiency Group has got their energy and efficiency up there already.
We have a great leader. She's doing a fantastic job. And plus, a lot of the people already sort of have ideas, and they're into doing it already. And we have everything from do-it-yourself projects to community projects. So it's going to be an interesting time.
So this is pretty much how the show's going to flow. We're going to do a quick little intro. Mike will always tell you when the new meetings are, in both regular meetings and subcommittee meetings. Then we're going to have a specific topic. What we want to do, first order of business, is introduce you to the committee chairs and/or co-chairs. So we're starting today with the Youth Center co-chair, Hailee Galandak-Cochron. She was nice to give us some of our time and come up for an interview. She's going to answer some of the hard questions. So we're going to take you to clip. Hi community, welcome to Take Action Rockingham Committee Chair Interview. We're here today with Hailee Galandak-Cochron. She is the co-chair for the Youth Center Committee. Welcome.
Hi.
So you want to tell the community a little bit about yourself and your background, Hailee?
Sure, I'd love to. I have lived in our community for about 5 years now. Maybe a little more actually. Sometimes it feels like yesterday and sometimes I feel like it's been forever. And when I first moved here, I moved to the area because of I have extended family here, and so moved to be closer to them. And when I first moved here, I got a job at the Boys and Girls Club in town, which is an extension of the one based in Brattleboro. And I was working there for maybe a little less than a year when for kind of political reasons, they defunded. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like it was going to be a huge loss to the community. And it was like, well, how hard could it be for us to just start our own?
The infamous words, how hard can it be?
Yeah, exactly. Little did I know. But since then, we have, gone under a larger program based in Brattleboro Youth Services, or a larger agency, and so we're a program of youth services, and they support us, fiscally, financially, and then with trainings and that type of thing. We have a solid 20 kids, and I'd say 30 overall. We have a space, thanks to Graz, right down the hall from where we are now. We've really built an innovative program based on the needs that we heard from the youth, and so we're youth-led, and so we really just are like listening to our kids and trying to adapt program based on what their needs are.
And to clarify for the community, that program is Friends for Change.
Yes, Friends for Change.
Friends for Change.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the Friends for Change kids came to the forums.
Yes.
They voiced their opinion.
Yeah.
And it came up that one of the needs and was voted on was a youth center.
Yeah, exactly. And so really one of our pillars of what we do is, so we're youth-led and we want our youth to feel welcome in the community, and part of that is them engaging in community. And so, sometimes that looks like community service, helping to run community events, helping out with the farmers market, different things like that. And then a big piece is, if there's any sort of democratic or political process that is open to youth, we try to encourage them to participate, because we really feel like it helps them to, one, feel like they belong in the community. And, as we know in Vermont, we're an aging population. Young people are growing up, they're becoming successful, and then they're moving away. But one of the key things that we can do to keep people here is to kind of engage them in the process and let them, feel like they belong, and hopefully they'll become successful citizens and hang around. So we were really excited when we heard about the process, and so we worked with the Rockingham visit team to actually put on a youth forum where our kids got to talk about, went through the same process that everyone, if other people participated in, they know, asking, what are things we like about the community, what are some things we wish we could improve, and how do we think we could improve them. Same questions, and they got to answer everything that they were interested in. And a lot of things rose to the top, not just things specific to youth, but things like transportation and housing and food insecurity. But one of the ideas that did come out was a youth center. And then through that process, we went through, 3 rounds of voting, I think?
3 rounds of voting. You guys rose to the top as the top. I think they narrowed it to, maybe it was 2 rounds of voting. I think they narrowed it to 8 and then to 3. Or maybe it was 20, I don't remember, but anyway, you rose to the top.
Yeah, through the process, it rose to the top. And, Jenna approached me and asked if I would be interested in co-chairing, as a local resident and someone who already works with kids and has worked with Deb Whitkiss and Megan Licharney to really build an existing program that we're really happy with and proud of, but have kind of outgrown our spaces that we're in. Through that process, I was invited to kind of take more of a leadership role in that. And really my goal was to just reflect the thoughts and ideas of the Rockingham youth and bring that, into the adult world and try and let their dreams and visions for what this could be rise to the surface.
And you have a co-chair who's just, I think, new to the committee. You haven't actually had a committee meeting yet, correct?
We had one initial meeting, which was...
At the last forum.
At the last forum, yeah. And so we haven't had another meeting. Our next meeting is set for Thursday the 19th from 5:30 to 7. So anybody who's interested in either in just learning more and you want to come and check out and see what we're talking about, or if you're really excited and engaged and you want to help support, you could come to the meeting.
Okay. And your co-chair is Jessie Bashaw.
Yes.
So you'll both be at the meetings. And I think what's important for the public to know at this point, because unfortunately you guys have kind of gotten the most chatter, which is good, but could be bad.
Yes.
So one of the things a lot of people have brought up is, well, we already have a rec center. Why do we need a youth center?
Yeah.
So maybe you could talk a little bit about the difference between the two, and maybe your vision for how either they could work together and support one another, or.
Yeah, I love that question, because it was a lot of questions on folks' minds, especially folks who maybe aren't working with kids on the regular. It does seem kind of redundant. Why would we have a youth center if we already have a place for kids to rec? And really our answer to that is that what we want to build with the youth center in no way wants to repeat what the rec is doing, and is so very different from what the rec is already doing, and in a lot of ways I think might end up complementing the rec. And so, we're not interested in just building a fun space for kids to be. We're really interested in building a program with some core pillars that we've already established with Friends for Change, with the support of Greater Falls Connections and Youth Services, and namely being that we're trauma informed. And so what that means is that, as we know in Bellows Falls, many of our community members are experiencing generational poverty and generational trauma, which, can lead to things like addiction and, make things like employment really challenging. And so what we see as our youth center is a way to kind of break that cycle by being trauma informed. So what that means is that we're really meeting our kids where they're at. And so our kids, because of their experiences or their neurodiversity or how they show up. Sometimes their behaviors could be seen as challenging. And some other organizations might not have the capacity to really meet them where they're at, but we kind of pride ourselves on and try really hard to meet our kids where they're at, and to help them kind of reframe some of that pain and trauma into strengths. And so really what we're providing is, dynamic programming that's meeting kids where they're at. And so we're trauma-informed. We're also youth-led. And so our kids get a say in everything that we do, from like day-to-day choices to designing programs. And we really see that as a piece of being trauma-informed and a way to empower our kids and give them voice and choice and really create a space where they feel like they can belong and have ownership over.
So your idea of a youth center and how it would differ is you are creating a space, number one, that's safe for all kids to come to. And number two, gives them a little bit more in the realm of maybe life skills, helps them grow, as you said, into better citizens. More programming, like more specific programming than maybe just play, although play probably is part of the programming.
Yeah.
So you have more of a little bit divergent focus from a rec center.
Oh yes,
I
I think our programming is more intense and just differs from just recreation. We do a lot. We practice restorative justice, and so we do a lot of what are called restorative justice community building circles. The kids call them deep circles, and it's essentially just a space and a time for us to all sit together and to talk about topics that are informed by the use of the adults choose. For example, talk about things like bullying or substance use, and so we're aiming
at the hard stuff.
Exactly, nothing light at FFC, and so we're kind of digging deeper. And in my mind, I really see having that kind of programming where we're meeting our kids where we're at, where we're supporting them with our model of scaffolding, where we're challenging them to kind of step it up, but in a loving and compassionate way. I think in a lot of ways we're kind of helping them so that they would be able to maybe show up at places like the rec in a different way and be able to perhaps follow the how should I say, like more strict rules than what we have at FFC.
But I think the other question is, you aren't necessarily, even though it's build a youth center.
Yes.
It's more build a youth center in the idea of the programming, and not maybe so much as this brandy new building, but more maybe repurpose an old building to connect to the other groups that are happening, make it energy efficient, repurpose a building.
Yeah.
So I think that's important for the community to know as well. So do you want to speak a little bit about that vision?
Yeah, I think that we are definitely want to make those decisions democratically as a group and see what rises to the top. But I think what comes to mind first is to repurpose an old building. I mean, there's so many buildings in town, as I think is present on a lot of community members' minds, is that there's lots of dilapidated buildings that are in need of repair. And so why build something brand new if we can fix something up? And it's in line with what the other task force are trying to do. We could potentially, share grant funding or something like that to build up a center. And then part of, kind of my grand vision for the space, which I really am excited about, is the potential of fixing up a building would, another thing that kind of separates us from the rec is that, or other programming in town, is that we're really interested in kind of building career readiness skills for youth, and so I love the opportunity of fixing up an old building, and so how amazing if, let's say, for example, we need to fix the sink or some sort of plumbing needs to be done, and there's youth interested in plumbing, we could connect them with a professional who could potentially volunteer their time. And then they could work on the project together, and so then the youth are, gaining skills in a potential field of interest and connecting with a positive adult.
Which is all things that can happen in what we're talking about in a youth center versus a rec center.
Yeah, exactly.
So just to differentiate. So for the folks that might be interested in coming to your meeting, can you just run that down again?
Yes, so it would be March 19th, which is a Thursday, from 5:30 to 7. We haven't chosen a location yet, but we're going to create a Facebook event.
Okay.
Jesse's actually going to do that, and once we confirm where we'll be, we'll send all of that out and be doing lots of outreach. I'm sure some community members may have gotten phone calls from youth already who are trying to do outreach.
Nice. So thanks for coming and talking to us today, and through the course of the show, I know we'll have you back because we want to keep everybody informed on exactly what is happening with Take Action Rockingham. So thanks a lot, Hailee.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Great interview, Marty. That was really interesting.
Thank you. Hailee was great. Hailee just, I asked her a few questions. I asked her the hard questions because those are the questions the community has, is what's the difference between, we already have a rec center, why do we need a youth center? I think she very nicely covered that.
Definitely.
And also the idea that they're not necessarily looking to build a brand new building. They're looking more to kind of combine with the other two groups and maybe redevelop a building, make it energy efficient, all of those things. So I think Hailee gave us some great information.
Yeah, and I think she was right about saying, well, they would complement each other. Then they're different, but they are similar, and we shouldn't dismiss one. We shouldn't say they're mutually exclusive. You can't have one
All
without
of the
another.
committees that's part of why we're doing this show, to make sure all of the committees, they all understand they're working together and we keep the information flowing.
Yes, that's great. So, like we said before, it's not too late to join.
And how would people know how to join, Mike?
Well, that's a good question. We're trying to get better at this, but what we're going to do is we're going to put contact information in the credits section at the end of the program. So stay tuned and watch the credits and figure out where you want to be and what committee you want to be on, because this is a grassroots committee of people.
Local residents.
The people of Bellows Falls are doing this, and you can be part of it. And it's not too late to start, and it's really easy to do.
And if you can't commit to a committee, then you can certainly help out by sharing this information, sharing the show on Facebook, telling people about the show, going to the YouTube channel to watch it, anything you can do to help us promote the show, so then the information flows out.
Perfect.
Because we want everybody to
Take Action Rockingham!